Ladies and gentlemen, it's Rafi Chowdhury back here again with RafiChowdhury.com, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to have better communication with your significant other, with your partner, with your wife, with your spouse, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. So, rule number one to communication is never assume anything. Okay? Unless and unless he or she specifically states, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's happening." Don't assume that what you're trying to convey, the body language that you're using, is being interpreted the same way. That's the number one mistake people make, is that they have a miscommunication in how they evaluate the other person interpreted what they're saying. So if you're ever in doubt, if you're trying to convey a message, don't use sign languages, don't use body language, don't play that waiting game, all that stuff. Just straight up tell them, hey, this is what I'm trying to say. Do you get it? Yes or no? And make sure that they can regurgitate that back to you. Because if they're not able to give that back to you again in the way that you need it, chances are they haven't learned it and you haven't been able to communicate that thing to them. Okay, rule number two to communication is always follow up with them on a regular basis, on a daily basis. Talk to your significant other. Ask them how their day went. What are the things that went bad? What are the things that went good? What do they enjoy about today? Just probe and ask people, because chances are a lot of people won't really open up and tell you those things unless you ask, right? Even if you're close, you guys have been dating for, I don't know, several years. Even then, people a lot of times don't even think about certain things unless they're actually being asked about those things. So always ask genuine questions and always probe deeper into their life to figure out what are the things that happen to them, what's going on in their lives, what are they upset about, and try to pick up on body languages. You will notice that when you start asking certain questions, that other person will share more information than what you've asked for. That gives you an opportunity to ask follow-up questions so you can get even deeper into their lives. Rule number three to communication is, if you and your significant other are not able to communicate on a certain topic or certain point, you guys can't get your thoughts across, involve a third party, because providing a third party or a third sort of set of eyes into the situation always gives you a perspective that neither of you guys have considered. Think about it. We're, as much as we like to say that we can think like somebody else, we can imagine ourselves in someone else's shoes. The reality is that we can't. You're not another person, right? You're yourself. You can try to think how the other person might be thinking and feeling, but the reality of it is that you can't. It's just not possible, because you're you, they're them, and you're always going to be biased no matter how unbiased you try to be. So one of the best things you can do is get a counselor, a trusted friend, a parent, somebody that you guys both trust and is a completely unbiased source to shed their light into the situation, and ask them for advice and ask them to figure out where the communication gap might be happening. The fourth thing that you can do in terms of communication is, again, to have not just verbal communication but also written communication, also communication in terms of body languages, right? So for this, you really have to know your partner. You have to figure out, like, how do they usually act? You know, when you ask them certain questions, are they acting differently? Do they seem like very like bored or excited, happy or sad? There's always this sort of like grid that you can place their mood in, right? Just figure out what kind of mood they're in. Are they bored and excited, or they're happy and excited at the same time, or happy or bored at the same time? There could be lots of different emotions and things like they're going through. So to be able to figure out what sort of mood state they might be in at that time is crucial to being able to communicate to them in a way that they're going to be responsive to based on what mood they're actually in. Something else that have helped me with communication in general is that be more agreeable, just in general. Just no matter what they say, even if you don't agree with it, even if you can't relate to it, even if you have no idea what they're talking about, just act like you agree and act like you can relate to that person. Because research in psychology shows that the more agreeable that you are to anybody, the more yeses you could say to somebody based on what the opinion that they give you, the more they're gonna like you. People like people that think like them. That's just the reality of it. And your partner and your significant other is no different. That's one of the reasons why they're dating you, right? Because you guys have something in common. So this you have to do on a daily basis, is when they say something, just agree with them. Even if you don't agree completely, just letting them know that you do agree, and then finding out in a good way to try to let them know, hey, but I think this is another way you can consider the same thing. It's not gonna hurt you, right? Because when you start actually disagreeing with people all the time, is when conflicts tend to break up, right? There you have a lot of disagreeing opinions. That changes your view of the other person. So I've found in my relationships that I've had is that the more agreeable I've been to those other people, even if I didn't exactly agree with someone, the more they tend to like me. Because the thing is that you're never going to find someone who thinks exactly like you on every single topic. There will always be discrepancies in how you guys view things. So instead of picking little battles every single time you don't agree on something, right? She wants kids, you don't want kids. She wants to live in this city, you don't want to live in that city. These little things like that, it can come up, and again, these are bigger issues maybe, but there could be smaller issues like that too that may come up on a daily basis. You want to eat here, she wants to eat there. Just be agreeable. Just be easygoing. Simply doing that opens up communication, makes the other person like you more, and you're gonna be fighting less battles. You're not complicating your relationship as much. You're simplifying it as much as possible. Another thing that I've learned about communication is always give genuine, small little compliments to people. And if you read the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, it's a really good book that I recommend. You will have learned that one of the love languages that he talks about is words of affirmation, letting other people know that what you like about them, right? What are some things that they're doing or they're wearing or how they're acting today that makes you that you enjoy? You have to give a genuine compliment to people. It can be something generic like, "Oh, I like your shirt," or "I like your shoes." Yes, you might like their shirt. Yes, they may have cool shoes, but the reality is that that doesn't really tell anything about something that they've done, something that you haven't gone over and beyond to give them a genuine comment or a compliment. You might go take it a step further and say something like, "I really enjoy, I really appreciate, and I think it's a great habit that you have, that you're able to engage anyone into a conversation, anyone into a group, and make that person feel included and excited." That is a genuine comment that you're giving to someone, not something generic like, "I like your hair." Although you may like hair, they may have great hair. It's not the deep compliments that we're talking about here. So those are 5 things that you can start doing tomorrow to improve your communication skills, not just with your significant other or your partner, but just with anybody. Just think about these things and let me know in the comments below if you guys have any other tips for how to communicate with your significant other better. Thanks guys, Rafi Chaudhry checking out.